Good morning to you. Happy Friday. We made it to the end of the week and it is looking good out there. We do have some quiet conditions. We had some gusty winds overnight, and that has since diminished. We've had some clouds move in and out of the region, and now we're getting some sunshine out there. So we're in for what will be, an unusually hot weekend for the first weekend of October. But it is actually a little similar to what we had back in October of 2023. So a couple of years back, where we had record highs as well. So in the next about 5 minutes, I'm just going to quickly go over some of the main headlines you need to know about for this weekend so you can plan out your activities well. And then we're going to talk about the pattern change going into next week. Because I know a lot of folks are curious as to when we're expecting more of the fall like weather and when that's going to happen and when it's changing. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. We'll go ahead and take a look outside. Here's Nagati Township. We're seeing some sunshine out there this morning. It's just a beautiful morning out there. We did have a couple of rain showers roll through early this morning, as we've been first alerting you to that potential for a little while now, and those have since passed on through. Here is Houghton and Hancock, and you can see just a few of these little thin clouds off into the distance there, and that's going to continue to push on through. It's just going to be a nice day. It's platter day, but it might be a little too hot to be wearing long sleeves today. We're looking at upper 70s again for another day. So maybe a day where, you bust out the plaid short sleeve shirts and maybe the plaid shorts if you have any. But just a really great day for fall celebrations, fall activities, even though it doesn't feel like it. The good news is we don't have any severe weather. So that's the positive side of things. We always should be a little bit more present in our in the day that we've been given ahead of us, right? Instead of focusing on the negative stuff. Here's a look at the radar. I want to quickly show you what happened early this morning. This is the rain that passed on through across our northern counties. Very light. It's been spotty. We said that that's what would happen. That's what happened. Um, this is what I like to call more of a nuisance type of rain, right? There's a warm front that's lifting north, and that's what pumped in a little bit of moisture during the overnight hours, and the reason why we had a few rain showers as well. And there's a small potential for maybe a thunder shower this afternoon, but I don't think it'll be too impactful. The cold front associated with this system basically will move through Sunday night and into Monday. We talked about that potentially happening, and that's what's going to be, I would say, the catalyst to the change that's coming next week. First off, though, I want to make sure you're aware that this weekend we're expecting some gusty conditions. And so wind flow will be out of the south, gusts of around 20 to 25 miles per hour tomorrow, but ranging 30 to 35 on Sunday afternoon. And it's going to be hot, it's going to be sunny, it's going to be dry. And this typically poses a problem around this time of year with our wildfire danger risk because a lot of the vegetation starting to dry out. I've seen a lot of ferns out there that are already kind of burnt. And we're going to continue to see some leaves fall with this wind. So, there is a wildfire risk this weekend. The Department of Natural Resources has a wildfire danger rating of about a high level this weekend. This is just something we need to be mindful of. Now, the good news is that the humidity, because we look at wind flow, we look at wind speeds, we look at a whole bunch of other varying conditions, we look at fuels that are available and accessible for wildfire ignition, right? But we also look at humidity and moisture. These are all factors we look at for wildfire potential and development. And the good news is that this weekend, the relative humidity doesn't really dip down less than about 40%. And so that's good news. So with the pattern we have overhead and what's coming this weekend, we have a little bit of moisture that moves in. So I think that can help mitigate a wildfire potential. But with that wind, this is something we need to be very cautious of, especially if you are planning to do maybe a fire, maybe forego doing brush burning this weekend and just get out and go check out some fall colors. That's what I suggest. But just something that we just need to be careful of and be mindful of this weekend that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of. It is going to be hot, just flat out hot. 20 to 25 degrees above the normal tomorrow, climbing into the 80s. I mean, low 80s for a good chunk of our western half of the UP, maybe even some mid 80s as well. Definitely possible for Saturday. Sunday, similar, just not quite as high, but still around 80 degrees. So this afternoon, there might be this potential of an isolated pop up shower, thunder shower. That's it. Your weekend's dry. I mentioned that cold front that's coming in Sunday night into Monday being the catalyst for a big change that's coming. It's also going to bring in some scattered rain showers. So this starts to move in Sunday evening, I would say after about 7 o'clock. No severe weather expected. This is widely scattered rain associated with that front. So about 10 o'clock for Sunday night, already seeing a little bit more of that pushing into the central UP. And then that continues into Monday morning. And then eventually it moves out by about midday on Monday. Not a lot of rain's coming in out of this, but it's what's going to come in after this that will be a little bit of a shock to the system because we've been so spoiled by this dry and unseasonably warm stretch of weather that we've had. Overall, September's been above normal as well. Here's the front. There it is. This is Monday, right around midnight, and that pushes east with rain still kind of pushing across the eastern UP and then across the northern lower. The rest of Monday is dry. But after that, this happens. Big drop off. So we have a trough that digs into the jet stream. That brings in this colder air mass. And it puts us back to normal ranges of temperatures of where we're supposed to be out for October. And that's not too terrible, except for the fact that we've been very spoiled with the 80s and the 70s that we've had. So it might be a little bit more of a shock to your system once this happens. So here's a look at Saturday afternoon for temperatures. But after that happens, after that changes, we start off with lows in the mornings in the 30s and some 40s as well. By Wednesday afternoon, our high temperatures for the most part will be in the 50s. This is seasonal ranges. I want to show you what we're expecting for overnight low temperatures going into next week. So 40s for Monday, 30s on Tuesday and Wednesday. And here's the thing, this could cause more frosty conditions to form during the overnight hours. So a big shift's happening next week. Again, we're many days away, and we've already seen how things have changed and adjusted just in the last 7 days. So there's always room for this to continue to adapt and change and evolve as more model data comes in and we get closer to this pattern shift. But this is where we're standing at right now. And so I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of what's coming for all of you folks who have been wanting the fall air and the fall rain and the fall wind, all of that on the horizon next week. A little bit colder than we're at right now. So in the meantime, let's just take advantage of how warm it's going to be. I think that we're reaching peak color right now. And so you'll want to take the opportunity this weekend to check out all of those very cool sites for fall colors. Drive out west, go to Copper Harbor, maybe head over to Iron County or to Gibbet County a little bit more in those interior areas. There's still a lot of greenery, though, along the shorelines of the Great Lakes and as well as across the eastern UP. But we're getting to peak color. These colors are going to start exploding and blooming here this weekend. And then the problem is that when we start to get this wind this weekend, we're going to start to lose a lot of our leaf cover. And then you get the colder air next week and the possible frost and maybe even freeze. And so a lot of those colors will become dull rather quickly. So take